Welcome to Sales Comp Decoded, the show where we explore the stories behind how companies pay people to sell. I am Abimbola. In our last episode, we looked at what happens when a sales role fundamentally changes, but the compensation plan continues rewarding the old version of the job. We talked about the friction that creates when reality moves forward, but the plan holds the team back. Today, we're taking the next logical step. We're moving from defining the role to designing the choices the plan should encourage. Our topic today is simple, powerful, and often misunderstood. And that is the behavior you pay for is the behavior you get. So let me begin with a question. What do you actually want your salespeople to do? I do not simply mean what targets you want them to reach at the end of the quarter. That is an outcome. I mean, what do you want them to do when they open their pipeline on a Tuesday morning and decide where to spend their time? Should they pursue the large strategic customer that may take months to close, or finish the smaller deal that is almost ready to sign? Should they protect the price even if that makes the negotiation harder, or offer a quick discount to cross the finish line? Should they develop an existing account with room to grow or spend the money searching for a brand new logo? Those choices are where strategy becomes real. The compensation plan does not make every decision for the seller, but it heavily changes the financial value of the options in front of them. And that is why plan design must always begin with behavior rather than just picking a commission rate. To see this in action, let's picture a seller looking at two distinct opportunities. The first involved an established product. Customers already understand it, and the seller knows exactly how to position it, and the deal could close within a week or two. The second opportunity involves a newer product. This product represents the future of the company. It produces stronger margin, creates deeper customer relationships, and supports the exact direction leadership wants the business to take. But this second product requires more education, more technical support, and a lot more patience. Now, imagine that both products pay the exact same commission rates. Which opportunity do you think will receive the seller's attention? Leadership may desperately prefer the strategic products, but the established product offers the exact same earnings with half the time and a fraction of the risk. A rational seller will choose the easier deal every single time. The sales team is not rejecting the company's strategy out of spite. They are simply responding to the economics of the plan. And this is what makes sales compensation so incredibly powerful. The plan does not need to instruct the seller directly, but by changing the financial value of the available choices, it quietly, invisibly directs where their daily effort goes. A product bonus might help patch this, but compensation should never become the automatic band-aid for every product problem. The newer products may also need better training, clearer positioning, or stronger customer evidence. The core question leadership must answer is whether the compensation plan supports the actual sales motion the company wants or it's quietly working against it. Unfortunately, many companies begin the design process entirely backwards. They start with the numbers. They ask, what someone in the role should earn at targets, divide the company revenue goal into individual quotas, then calculate a commission rate and build the rest of the plan around that math. That calculation, of course, matters. A plan should absolutely be competitive, affordable, and financially sound. But a sound financial structure is not automatically a sound behavior design. A company can create a perfectly reasonable quota and a carefully modeled rate while still encouraging choices that damage the business. Picture a typical alignment meeting where leadership wants more profitable growth, sales wants enough upside to motivate the team, finance wants to control costs, HR wants the package to remain competitive. And within 5 minutes, the meetings devolve into a heavy debate about commission rates, caps, bonuses, and accelerators. But notice what is missing. The group has not yet agreed on what sellers should actually do differently. Should they focus on larger accounts? Should they protect margin during a tough negotiation? Should they introduce a strategic product earlier in the cycle? Or give more attention to existing customers with expansion potential? And until leadership can describe the desired choice clearly, the rate discussion has absolutely no foundation. A higher commission rate may generate more effort, but effort is not the same as judgment. Money can strengthen a signal, but it cannot correct a signal that is pointing in the completely wrong direction. So, a behavior first plan translates broad corporate strategy into choices a seller can actually recognize on the ground. For example, increased revenue describe an outcome that says prioritize longer customer agreements over short-term deals. Improved profitability is an outcome, but protecting price during negotiation is the action that produces it. Grow the enterprise segment is an outcome, but spending more time developing large and complex accounts is the daily choice that had to be made. This difference matters immensely because sellers do not sit at their desk deciding whether to improve the company's global strategy. They decide which customer to call, which product to recommend, and how firmly to defend the price. Once leadership can describe the desired choice, only then can they identify the right measure. Revenue may be the answer, but often the company needs something far more specific. Is it a profitable revenue, or growth from existing accounts, or sales of a strategic product, or qualified opportunities with a priority market? The measure must always follow the behavior. It should never replace the conversation about what you actually want people to do. We must also remember that measures are never neutral. Every measure you choose inherently encourages a specific route towards the results. So when a company rewards total revenue, sellers focus entirely on volume. When margin affects their earnings, they suddenly have a very strong reason to protect price. When growth from existing customer carries meaningful weight, then accounts development becomes highly attractive. But each measure also contains a massive assumption about how much influence the seller actually has over that metric. A margin measure only works fairly when sellers have real control over pricing and discounting. A customer retention measure feels completely unreasonable to a seller if product quality or service delivery problems sit entirely outside their control. A team measure can encourage great collaboration, but it will deeply frustrate your top individual performance if too much of their income depends on people they cannot influence. The measure is therefore much more than just a line item or a number in the plan. It tells your people exactly which route towards success the company is willing to reward. So before selecting it, leadership must understand both the outcome they want and the exact behavior that measure is likely to produce. And so serious problems appear when different parts of the same plan encourage opposing decisions. Imagine a plan that rewards total revenue while simultaneously offering a smaller bonus for multi-year contracts. A seller is negotiating a massive agreement the customer is willing to sign for 3 years, but only if they get a significant discount. Now, the seller must choose between protecting the value of their main revenue commission or pursuing that smaller multi year contract bonus. Both measures look perfectly reasonable when viewed separately in a spreadsheet. But together in the real world, they create a sharp trade off that leadership may never have discussed. Different sellers will resolve that conflict in completely different ways. One will protect their core revenue, another will prioritize the longer contracts. A third will simply calculate whichever options move them closest to their next payout level. The plan, in essence, is asking sellers to settle a strategic corporate conflict that executives haven't resolved themselves. When a plan forces a seller to choose between two opposing goals, it stops being a motivational tool and becomes a source of deep frustration. If your plan contains conflicting signals, your sales force will naturally default to the path of least resistance, which rarely aligns with your strategic goals. When we look closely at how those behavior signals play out, we realize that designing a compensation plan isn't just about rewarding the right actions. It is also about managing how much uncertainty we ask our sellers to handle when those actions don't yield immediate results. And that brings us to the quietest, most overlooked variable inside almost every sales plan: financial risk. In our next episode, we will dive deep into the concept of pay mix. We will examine how the split between fixed salary and variable pay shifts risk between the company and the salesperson, and how to determine the exact level of risk that is fair for the role. Thank you for listening to Sales Comp Decoded. I am Abimbola. If today's breakdown helped you see your plan design in a new light, hit subscribe, leave us a review, and share this episode with your revenue leadership team.